Hello and welcome back to Creation ModCon 2023 for the second and final day of this year's Skyrim modding extravaganza. I'm Scott from Fudge Muppet.
And I'm Mickey D, back again to help the final day get started in the best possible fashion. I'm wearing my Oblivion quilted doublet and my blue suede shoes. I'm all fancy for the occasion. And we even brought that old fossil Captain Stu to help this ship set sail on its third annual voyage.
Thanks, gentlemen, and can I say, what an honour and a hoot it has been to have you join us this year.
I can assure you the pleasure has been ours. Now to the matter at hand. Let's have a look at what we have in store today. We begin once again with the good ship Beyond Skyrim as we make port beyond the Sea of Ghosts at Roscrea.
Then we batten down the hatches as we make ways east to the land of yummy condiments and snake people with the Esroniet team.
And the nautical narrative continues as we rejoin the Beyond Skyrim team and their Iliac Bay gang for sun, sea and sand. Oh, and pirates. Don't forget them, me hearties.
We then join the excellent extended cut team for their ModCon debut, where we can all marvel at how much new content they can wring out of Skyrim for our collective captivation.
And you better grab your coats as we leave the continent of Tamriel once more to head north to the forgotten tundras of Beyond Skyrim's Atmora.
Then it's more island hopping next as we cruise westerly towards the Sea of Pearls and the Isles of Thras.
Next we travel eastbound to the other side of Tamriel as the Beyond Skyrim team show us how the Aramanthine Mesa of Red Mountain has spawned a new north in Morrowind.
And after that is our final showcase of this year's Creation ModCon as we head to the Heartlands to join the Skyblivion team for what should be a cracking finale. That is, of course, followed by the Day 2 Q&A, so get those questions ready.
What a day and what a weekend, and with that being said,
welcome to Day 2 of Creation ModCon 2023.
They have taken you from the Imperial City's prison, first by carriage and now by boat, to the east, to Morrowind. Fear not, for I am watchful. You have been chosen.
My gods are strong and true, but even the might of the blades cannot stand against the power that rises to destroy us. Take my amulet, give it to Joffrey, find the last of my blood, and close shut the marble jaws of Oblivion. I have failed. We are divided. In the end, I could not unite us. Our ancient enemy has returned to reclaim the lands that we took from them thousands of years ago. And this time, the people will have to protect themselves. They must find something, anything, to hold on to, and then give their lives in service to it. The Empire depends on it.
Hello everyone and welcome to Roscrea. I'm Mr. JDT and today we're going to be taking a short trip along the southern coast of the island. Before we get onto that however, I do want to address our height map overhaul that we undertook late last year. This was done due to there being problems with the old height map relating to how we added additional land. These problems started to cause issues with corrupting the height map, leading to random terrain spikes and serious tears in the landscape. We also weren't 100% happy with the old height map, and with those two factors in our mind, we decided that replacing the height map was better than trying to fix the old one. The new height map has allowed us to slightly increase the size of the island, as well as create a world that better fits the stories and themes that we want to tell. It also hasn't hindered our development time, since exterior level design was further ahead than most departments, and although we haven't 100% finished the new height map yet, we have got about 75% of it done to a similar level than it was on the old height map. Now, let's go into game and give everyone their first look at our new height map. We are now approaching one of the villages in Roscrea. This is Matrashon, home of the Hawk Cult. The Hawk Cult are primarily farmers and herders who produce much of the food for the rest of the island. Some members of the cult can be found in other parts of Roscrea, having travelled with their herds there for fresh grazing. One of our big achievements in the last year is just how much of our writing we have got done. We've managed to get all the writing for all the NPCs on the island done, some 300 in total, and made sure they all have interesting, vibrant backstories. As you can see here, there are no greetings only NPCs on Roscrea. We have also got the majority of the side quests written, with many of them now already in game. The major quest lines that we have for some of the cults are also close to being finished off. These aren't as long as your Skyrim quest lines, but each delves into an aspect of island life as well as the politics between the cults. We also have our main quest written, which will be a 12 quest adventure to uncover some of the island's mysteries. The last major writing hurdle left to do is the followers, which you can find across the island and bring with you on your adventures. As we leave Matrashon, many of you might be wondering what the name means. In Roscrean, it simply means Mother Shore. The Roscrean language is a conlang that we have developed and will be something you'll be able to see in the place names across the island, as well as heard spoken by the natives or from the taunts of the Draugr deep in their tombs. Another advantage with us updating our height map is it has really allowed us to make sure we have the environmental assets we need to bring the island to life. This has meant that we have created new models for much of the flora on the island to create a more interesting and varied world to explore. It has also allowed us to create some new creatures to help make Roscrea a more unique island with its own fauna. We do, however, need more talented artists to help bring them to life, along with some of the other assets that we do need for the island. Thankfully, it's another area where we've had a great push in the last year by asking for help from other Beyond Skyrim projects to give us a hand creating many of the assets we still require. We are deeply grateful for the support that many of the members have given us, as well as the teams who have provided those said members. We do, however, still have some assets left to create, with a handful of these pieces still requiring concept art and still plenty left to be modelled. If you are a 3D artist and would like to help, it would be greatly appreciated to help get Roscrea finished, so please head over to the Beyond Skyrim website to submit an application. If you aren't a 3D modeller but want to learn, then please check out the Arcane University, where their excellent teachers will guide you through the process and help you learn at your own pace. Each settlement in Roscrea has a set of docks for its preferred way to travel around the island by the natives. The seas may be home to the Vashokar, the native raiders and pillagers, but it is often safer than crossing most of the land. The ferry system is one of the many things implementation has been working on. On Roscrea we work slightly differently to larger projects and have been holding off on implementation until most of the writing and level design is complete. The good news is that in many places we are now at that stage and we are entering one of the most important parts of Roscrea's development. As you have seen, many of the NPCs have already been implemented and we are now moving on to the task of getting quests into game. This is another area where more hands would be useful, so if you have the skills, please do apply, or again, check out the Arcane University if not. We are now about to enter another of the Roscrean settlements. This one is Roscrea and is home to the Owl Cult, a cult of mages and scholars who prefer to keep out of the usual politics between the cults. It is also a place where we can show off another piece of good news, and that is that we've got pretty much all the interiors we need for Roscrea 100% complete. In them, you'll be able to find more of our custom assets, including furniture, shrines, clutter, and clothing. Doesn't it look great? Being scholars, the Owl Cult are great collectors of knowledge and keepers of histories. They also do translation work, translating the great Roscrean sagas into Tamrielic as a way to pass on their knowledge. The Owl Cult have their own questline you'll be able to follow and explore their unique cultural spin on the Roscrean way of life, as well as get a series of unique rewards. One thing you may have noticed is our reuse of the Nordic dungeon kit. This is in part due to Roscreans and Nords sharing a heritage through the Atmorans, who long ago colonised both Skyrim and Roscrea, bringing their culture with them. Unlike on Tamriel, where the Nords intermingled with the other races of men and moved away from their Atmoran roots, the Roscreans kept many of their ancient traditions, meaning many of the temples and ancient structures are still in use. We haven't copied everything though, but have made sure to give much of the clutter you'll see its own Roscrean design, as you can see here. Here, along the southern coast of Roscrea, you'll find the weather to be much nicer than it is along the northern coast, where the cold gales from Atmora keep it frigid all year round. However, this current weather is a bit too nice, and we will eventually be changing it. It's one of the last things that we need to do as landscapers. These forests are also home to nature spirits called glassstegs. They are very protective of their woodland realms, and don't like them being disturbed. Even the most hardy of the Roscreans gives them a wide berth. Unfortunately today we don't have the time to visit a dungeon, but overall they're coming along well, but it is something we could do with extra pairs of hands to get the last few finalised and polished. If you have any interest, please submit an application or visit the Arcane University. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed a few misplaced assets or areas that need some extra polish. If you did, then we are happy to announce that we plan on opening up a QA department on Roscrea to help get everything we have to the best possible and bug-free level that we can get. Please keep your eyes peeled for future announcements for that if you are interested. We also hope to be opening up voice acting once the last of the writing has been finished and edited. We don't have a defined opening dates for those yet, so please keep your eye on the Beyond Skyrim social media pages. This is Crane Shore, the main imperial town on Roscrea, and where you will start your journey when you first visit the island. The people who moved here from Tamriel generally had a reason to leave the mainland and move to an island in the middle of nowhere, but at least they're friendlier than the natives. Thank you to everyone for watching this little peek into Roscrea. Unfortunately, we are not quite at the stage where we can confidently give a release date, but the project is in a really good place, and with some luck and some extra help, we can finally get Roscrea released, and out to all you lovely people. We will, however, be doing a stream later in the year to show some more of the work we have done, so keep your eyes peeled for the announcement for that. I hope you all enjoyed the showcase, and look forward to sharing more information about the project with you all.
What an incredible showcase to open with. Thanks to all the team at Beyond Skyrim Roscrea. Scott from Fudge Muppet back again for Creation ModCon 2023, Day 2, and once again back with Mickey D and the mythical Trendane once more. What's next on the menu? Please say cheese.
Actually, it's pronounced Seichi, and it's time to spice up your life as we make for Black Harbor.
They might have lizard cheese, but maybe that's a question for Leftover Pat's YouTube channel. Either way, we head to a land in the midst of political intrigue. Who knows what else we will find on the island of Esroniet.
Esroniet is what you'd call a home away from home, an archipelago that lies between Tamriel and the continent of Akavir. This land has a deep, mysterious history. For what we know, goes back to the First Era, when a race of men came to inhabit Esroniet. These men, these Esri, appear unlike any you have seen in Tamriel. Coming from a land full of spices such as cinnamon or nutmeg, their people consist of farmers, architects, and great leaders. From the verdant green lowlands of the Great Jungle to the crags and plains of the Firelands, their touch on the land stretches across the entire archipelago. When Emperor Uriel Septim V invaded the Spice Isles, he brought the once unified nation into a divide. King Bashamon I of Esroniet gave his nation a lineage of kings and queens and brought about material trade to the land. The people who preferred democracy made haste out of the cities, continuing their old society away from the new society. These Esri are now led by their queen, Etta Garbon, seeking a return to diplomacy. She aims to seize the throne of King Elias Bashamon. Meanwhile, underground is a society aiming to bring back ways before the days of Esri kings and queens. Before any player starts this main quest, many of you will likely begin in the city of Black Harbour, an established port of wealth and workmanship, and a beacon to the outside world. It is often referred to as the Black Diamond, where you will find people from all walks of life seeking their fortune. And leading this city is a strong-willed imperial man named Bronte Vernarti. But not to forget the other landmarks of Esroniet. Beyond Black Harbour is the green crossroads of Jefumar, a beautiful farmland city, and far north is Holy Irel, the mysterious capital of Esroniet. Despite differences though, Irel and Black Harbour are not so different. They share one similarity, that they were both brought to life by the people of Akavir. The Tang Mo and the Sei Chi were prominent races that settled within Esroniet's environments during the First Era. The Tang Mo built beautiful temples and briefly introduced material trade to the Esri. The Sei Chi were made up of alchemists and soldiers. Their goal of inhabiting Esroniet was to start a war with Tamriel, constructing a military fortress for this purpose that would soon become Black Harbour. It's been 3 eras since those races left, and there is little chance you will find one of their own integrated into modern society. That being said, you'll find plenty of what they left behind. Powerful weapons and armour that withstood the test of time. Scrolls and markings indicating how their culture withstood society. All of these housed within the many ruins across the Spice Isles. Writing has made great progress, and we like to get to work on finishing the 3 cities, plus getting quest and dialogue writing moving. In 2D, we have made great progress on every piece of architecture for Black Harbour. 3D has seen amazing developments with a goal to create all planned assets showing its beginnings. This will all lead us to finally beginning level design on the land. This is a great task to bring all of these elements of the new land together. Therefore, we would encourage that many of you consider joining up with the project to bring it to fruition. Our project is based on the Nern Uncharted Discord server, and you will find our application form there. If you are eager to learn more information about our project, old or new, you can look there and continue to follow our progress of bringing Esroniet to life in-game. Thank you everybody for watching, and we hope you'll be excited to see what we have to offer next time.
The Attestation of a Thalmor Dissident. Written by Nuclear Spartan. Read by Renara Hawk. From the dark days of Tiber Septim, through the latter years of the Third Era, the proud people of my native Firsthold told wistful tales of yore, reminiscing about the former glory of Alinor. As a young child, I was delighted by recountiments of ancient Altmeri triumphs from eras of bold explorers and heroic warrior kings. Among my favourites was a heavily embellished storybook, loosely adapted from Undhendra Nibenu, which sparked my hunger for battle and adventure. Even now, my fond memories of childhood naivete fill me with hope for an ideal future. But those feelings are fleeting, for the bane of modern Tamrielic peace hangs heavily over my head. Indeed, the scourge of the Altmeri Dominion threatens my home, my well-being, and my very life. The unnerving truth is that every facet of Altmeri life is dominated by a corrupt regime. It was only recently I learned that, in reality. Topel the pilot had never outwitted nor even encountered barbaric Nordic or Colovian men in the mythic times of Tamriel, which my cherished storybooks had led me to believe. It is through distortions such as these that the Thalmor plant seeds of violence and dangerous ideals within young minds. I know this to be true, as it is the very reason I took the Thalmor military oath as soon as I was of age. As a soldier, I expected honorable battle and righteous liberation, but I was only met with unthinkable atrocity. Question any soul with ties to Valenwood, and you will learn wickedness beyond the standards of the Daedra. When I abandoned my duties and fled Dominion influence into the chaotic Hammerfell, I shared retrospect with weary travellers hailing from as far east as Windhelm and as far northwest as Camlorn. To my chagrin, all were keenly aware of the delusions of grandeur plaguing my people, a blight which I was not exempt from. Even now, the darker planes of my mind chide me, declaring me a traitor to rightful Altmeri supremacy. Unwelcome among common folk of Skaven, I journeyed northward, settling only briefly among the generous few who would have me. However, as time wore on, old scars refused to fade. I only found peace in seclusion, hiding away from those affected by the war in the furthest corner of a crumbling empire. Here I remain, left only to reflect longingly as my ancestors had before me. Nevertheless, a sliver of hope remains in my heart. Perhaps these words will fall upon deaf ears. Perhaps they will be misinterpreted as a call to arms. Perhaps they will see familiar embellishment among Imperial loyalists. If such a thing comes to pass, I only ask any who publish this attestation to keep these words pure. Tamriel belongs not to the empires of Mer and Man. Tamriel belongs to the Imperiald Bosmer of Valenwood. Tamriel belongs to the unwavering Redguards of Hammerfell. Tamriel belongs to the young Altmer of Alinor with new ideas. Tamriel belongs to us.
Hey everyone, Kairos, back with Captain Stu, and thank you for joining us here on the second day of Creation ModCon 2023. And thanks to the Esroniet team for that amazing update on their progress this year.
Indeed, and from one project close to my heart to another, as we take a little warp to the west and rejoin the Beyond Skyrim team in the supposedly tranquil retreat of the Iliac Bay.
Welcome to Iliac Bay, both old and new. In early 2022, Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay made the difficult decision to reset our height map and level design. This overhaul aimed to better serve the story and lore, to offer a more realistic and immersive landscape, and to keep up with advancements in the project's design. Work on the new height map has gone faster than expected, with our devs devoting many hours to revamping the region. Let's take a look at some of the improvements made in this overhaul of Hammerfell and High Rock.
One of the most crucial aspects of creating a strong player experience is having strong opening moments and views. Originally, the player crossed this bridge on a direct path into Johanna, one of the 3 cities in the mod's planned pre-release, 3 Kingdoms. In the new height map, we take the player through a short journey around the coastline, offering an impressive approach to the clifftop city before finally discovering what's inside. Similarly, the roads in the old height map were very direct, moving players from one settlement to another without much in between. The height map reset has given us an opportunity to make our roads feel more winding and natural, with space for random encounters, farmhouses, isolated manors, and other content that makes the wilderness of Iliac Bay feel alive.
Our level design team created much of the old height map using placeholder architecture, with assets taken from older modding projects reaching far as back as Morrowind. These were never intended to be final, and with our new creative vision for the world space, we no longer need them to stand in for our unique assets. Eliminating these has made the build much lighter and easier to work with, allowing us to get more work done faster. Additionally, resetting the height map allowed us to clear away oddities that have been lingering in the old build, such as floating chunks of water, old 3D objects which cause crashes, and textures, which did not make the transition between Legendary Edition and Special Edition very cleanly.
Resetting our height map has allowed us the opportunity to rebalance the design of Iliac Bay in ways that help us improve the overall experience. Our new height map now has a better distribution of settlements, dungeons, and wilderness areas. This is to help prevent issues such as areas with too many settlements where there may not be enough dungeons and other locations for the quests to properly utilise. We've also paid special attention to our border regions and biome transitions. Skyrim exemplifies a great design language, utilising valleys and mountain ridges to make each biome feel self-contained. In this vein, we've designed the new height map to facilitate far better sightlines, so you won't be faced with a full view of the Iliac Desert from the fields of Daggerfall, or the snowy city of Johanna from the tundras of Farum.
Resetting Iliac Bay's height map was a monumental decision, which had a lot of careful consideration behind it. The work of the original level designers and 3D artists was impressive, but resetting has pushed the project into new heights of progress and allowed us to clear away some of the issues that persisted from years past. This change, along with the tireless effort of our team, has resulted in great leaps in development. In only a year and a half, nearly all of our pre-release areas have completed level design and are entering second passes for polishing. Some areas outside of the pre-release have small biome tests, which show significant upgrades from their older designs. The area surrounding Skywind and the wastes of the Iliac Desert have never looked so diverse and realistic. A few new areas have also seen biome tests, such as the lush Tark River and the coastal village of Pothago. Working with a cleaner, leaner build has led to advancements in other areas of Iliac Bay as well. We can now boast our first implemented and voiced NPCs, implemented quests, new weathers, new weapons, and other steps towards making this gorgeous landscape playable. 2022 was a new beginning for Iliac Bay, and so far 2023 has far exceeded our expectations. We still have a long way to go, but we hope to bring you the High Rock and Hammerfell you've been waiting for very soon. And if you'd like to contribute to that effort, Iliac Bay is currently looking for new 3D artists, level designers, animators, implementers, and sound designers. Stay tuned as I take you through our most developed area to date, the Abyshian Isles of Herne and Kespar. Welcome to the island of Herne. This northernmost island in the Abyshian was once the capital of the Regatta, now reduced to a humble village. We are exploring this land with a Breton character, wearing the Bredic leather armor set and surrounded by new clutter items that help flesh out the nautical side of the Abyshian. Let's take a look around. Scarabs are just one of the diverse range of living ingredients we've added to Iliac Bay, which help us to portray the vibrant ecology of the Isles. Alongside that, we are particularly proud of our hanging gourds, complete with physics and sound effects. Thanks to Den P for those. We now enter the village of Eco Herna, what is left of the warriors who made a pact to protect the island in perpetuity. They worship Tava, the god of winds who led the Regatta to Herne. While we are still working on new clothing items for our characters, we have implemented many NPCs with full dialogue trees, though not all of them are happy to see you. Work has begun on interior level design for the Isles, such as this hut for the village blacksmith. There are a number of new assets here, such as the new cooking pot, chest, rug, various food items, dressers and drawers, and other elements that bring the homes of our NPCs to life. let's have a word with Hamal, the blacksmith who owns the house. He is wearing our Ite, or chieftain, armor set. Hamal is not Ite when you first enter Ecoherna, but is one of the candidates players can support during a pivotal quest for the village's future. The common usage of the Yoku language in this dialogue is one of the reasons we have chosen not to utilize AI voice generation. Thankfully, Hamal is nice enough to allow us to take a few things, and utilize our new anvil for Hammerfell to make something to protect ourselves. A machete. Perfect. Well, let's see what else this island has in store. What is that? Oh! I'll show you for sneaking up on me. Ooh. Goblins in Hammerfell can be particularly aggressive, and very dangerous in large numbers. Thankfully, this one chose to attack alone. Let's skip down the path a bit. Now, what have we here? Someone's left a perfectly good shovel behind. Well, I think we can put that to good use. That's what I'm talking about. Now let's find someone to use it on. This looks like a good spot to test out our new friend. Bloodhorkers have been attempting to expand their territory into Hammerfell, as expressed in dialogue from Skyrim. However, they are only one of the many pirate crews and bands of brigands vying for territory on these tiny islands.
Race to your own kind! Lucky hit!
Several of them are still after us, so we'll just take a few things and make a quick getaway. Ah, that will do nicely.
I'll carve you into pieces!
Water walking is particularly useful on the Ephesian, both as a means of escape and traversing. Of course, the sea holds dangers of its own. Dregs, sharks, slaughterfish, and fearsome nereids hunt above and below the waves, so keep your wits about you. Thankfully, it seems like we found a peaceful port in this storm, with a few more NPCs to speak to. Let's pay a quick visit to the nearby village of Chora that she mentioned. Chora is not in as developed of a state as Ecoherna, but it still has many NPCs with full dialogue trees to speak to. And in contrast to Ecoherna, Chora has a living Ite. Chora is dedicated to Onsi, the Bone Shaver, who gave Redguards the measurements and techniques to make perfect curved blades. Their craftsmanship is unmatched on the Isles, and on much of mainland Hammerfell. And finally, we have our first fully implemented and voiced quest.
Well, well, do you believe in fate, stranger? Because I am starting to. You don't have the smell of an island around you, so you must be like me. An outsider trying to make something out of their time here. That you do not already know of me bodes well. I have hit a snag, one might say. My name is Zaurir. Perhaps you can assist me with a small issue. I came here with a few trusted men. We were led to believe it was abandoned. It is not. Now I am alone and have a small, very small, ghoul problem. Preferably, I want someone else to deal with them, but the only locals I've seen are children, who mostly come to throw rocks at the fort. You have my thanks. I have barricaded the inside entrance. Do what you must to get through. If you do not return, I will assume the worst. The Abyssian swallows the unwise. Stay safe.
Because we are a Bredic character with some aptitude for magic, we have an extra trick up our sleeve to help us in this situation. Here they come! Our little snow ray friend is really pulling their weight. Oh no, you don't. Alright, now it's just you and me. Hey, get back here! Well, that was a harrowing fight. We'll take a few unique items from the ghoul's corpse and head back to Zaurir to tell him of our success.
You return. A good sign. Well, now that the ghouls are gone, you may have this. I will collect my crew. You should return to us after we have had time. I may have a greater reward.
And much like Zaurir, Iliac Bay will have greater rewards in time. This year has been incredibly productive for the project, and that momentum shows no signs of slowing. So stay tuned as we continue to polish these areas and more. From all of us at Iliac Bay, thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of Creation ModCon 2023.
Howdy once again, folks. UCM, here again with Arcane Impact and what an awesome catch-up that was with the Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay team. A big thank you to them for that incredible show.
Absolutely. Now for something completely different from everything else you've seen so far at Creation ModCon 2023, we join the team from Extended Cut in their Creation ModCon debut. The Extended Cut team want to completely change the way you interact and progress through Skyrim in all manner of fascinating ways. But don't just take my word for it, as we take a closer look at Skyrim Extended Cut.
This must be the Hall of Stories. We are nearing the heart of the temple. Tread carefully. This is a sacred place. Look, here. These murals depict the old gods of the Nords. You see? The hawk spreads its wings over Kine, goddess of storm and sky. And here, the fox, the sign of Shore. Even in death, the Lord of Sovngarde remains at his widow's side. But I am certain you know his tale, as all Nords do. And this, a dragon priest, leaders of the ancient dragon cult. Rulers of men, yet servants to their draconic masters. A slave, carved beside the gods. I expect we will find the Dragonstone buried with him. The inscription, Crosis. It means sorrow in the dragon tongue. Perhaps it was the name of the priest buried here. If this is the resting place of a high priest, it would explain the grand scale of this temple, as well as its defenses. We must be cautious. Look, this must be the doorway into the sanctum. I suspect it will open only to those who bear the golden claw. We must find a way to unlock it. So the way opens to us. It seems the answer was in the palm of our hand all along. Shows the dragon. We must not be seen. Follow me, quickly and quietly. The stone must be there, at the altar, right under the nose of the beast. If we are swift, we may... Get to cover! Now! Look! The dragon is taking flight. The beast is gone. For now. We are fortunate to be alive. Another? So you have faced a dragon before? You will have to tell me, once we have left this dark place. Come, the stone must be close. This must be the tomb of Crosis. Perhaps the stone is buried with him. The sarcophagus is sealed tight. Look around. There may be something we can use to pry it open.
Greetings, it's Trendane here, still with Mickey D and Scott from Fudge Muppet, and a very big thank you to all the gang at Extended Cut for that in-depth look. It looks like an incredibly cool mod.
And talking of cool mods, it doesn't get much cooler than the frozen wastes of Atmora as we venture to the grim north on the good ship Beyond Skyrim.
Hopefully the locals won't give us a frosty reception and we can chillax and enjoy the sights and sounds of Beyond Skyrim Atmora.
I am writing this in haste, and in desperate hopes that these pages make their way south, beyond the Velothis and the Gerals. Should you read this before the turn of the year, then may it ease your mind, for it means that we may have survived, and are on our way to Harfingar. Ever since the attack of what I assume to have been a Redoran convoy on our way to the Winter War, F and I have been in hiding. While gravely injured, we were able to press on under great distress, making use of the little mental fortitude and magicka that was left in me. I was able to somewhat mend one of F's legs, which was left torn and mangled after the skirmish. The last days we have spent in agonizing pain and frost, as our bodies are giving way to exhaustion and starvation. As it stands, we have little to no food remaining, and the thirst has already become unbearable. We have since holed ourselves up in a Draugr-infested ruin deep within the Velothi Mountains, hoping for, at this point, a miracle, I suppose. Within the great tombs of northern Tamriel, we were able to uncover accounts and records that seem to predate the reign of Harold Handfree. Among them, we uncovered stories about a great terror, as well as multiple warnings. If we wish to truly journey beyond the Sea of Ghosts, then I must implore you to take all possible precautions. No contingency must be left unaccounted for, and we must make our journey with great care. We are not allowed to make a single mistake, for it could mean devastation and death. As our findings suggest, the fall of Atmora seems to be a large piece of history that the ancient Nords collectively sought to forget. It tells of vows to never speak of it again, and to let the knowledge regarding the old continent be forgotten. For what reason remains unclear. Records and ships were burned among the Atmoran colonists, and even the old dragons that ruled Skyrim during these days forbade people to even make mention of it. Miraculously, one prominent piece of information survived within the old Songs of Ysgramor of the 500 Companions' fame. The legends surrounding Ylkafik. From the limited amount of their language that F and I were able to gather, Ylkafik seems to roughly translate into the Bay of the Resting Season. Even though much was forgotten, it seems that the glory of its legendary shipyards mentioned in the Songs of the Return survived. Acknowledgements of Ylkafik are scarce, even in the lengthiest inscriptions and carvings. And even in those branded as heretical, Ylkafik has become a symbol of danger. A place of tragedy, of the grotesque. A reminder of the shadowy depths of an elder civilization that fell to ruin. The records speak of many great fires that set the very coastline of Atmora ablaze for many months on end. burning so bright that it could be seen from the steps of Roscrea. They whisper of a divine wrath that soon followed the fires, spreading outwards from Iliac, enveloping the surrounding region in what is called the never-ending massacre. An event of calamity that none survived, that none have been able to survive. Something more dangerous than any of us could ever imagine. Something so abhorrent that it was not allowed to be put into words, that even the dragons ruling the lands were fearful of. I have been collecting my thoughts after a lapse of consciousness. Should we truly wish to explore this land of dread, we will encounter much hardship and death. I therefore ask you to make your way around the guilds and arenas of the Heartlands, and to recruit those that are able to not only defend themselves, but also their fellow expeditioners. Some that, in contrast to the few that have set out, have a home to return to. Find people with a will to survive, perhaps people with families waiting for them. While we all have a reason to venture out, you know as well as I do that there are those among us that have no other choice than to flee Tamriel. Those that have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. F has woken up. We will continue our journey. Yours truly, E.
What do you make of this, Eris? I'm in no mood to deal with any Dunmerry mercenaries. We barely escaped that ambush in Hammerfell of all places. I'm still busy repairing our ships, and unless we learn how to fly, I don't think we can get to the rift in time.
Elandril's resourceful, and I doubt anything save for a dragon could ever hope to kill Fiola. Knowing Elandril, they're probably already on their descent towards Riften by some unknown tunnel or passage that he conjured into the mountains.
If that's the case, we should send word to Swims, so that he can pull his head out of the water and make his way south from the shorelines of Winterhold. Speaking of which, has he found anything worthwhile?
Oh, he has. I don't know how he was able to get to the bottom of the ocean through all these shipwrecks without freezing to death, but he found something. Oliviana should be on her way to Winterhold to secure it, but it's quite difficult traveling from it to elsewhere without being noticed. Truthfully, I don't know how much longer we can keep this a secret. I had to make, let's call them adjustments to Zenithar knows how many ledgers, and we're still missing equipment. Have you heard from our friends in Daggerfall?
Nothing, not a single letter. Not even one of those thought whispers that Elandril always helped us conjure up. Luckily for us, there's some cargo waiting to be picked up there. Got a shipment of pelts that we can borrow from. And my left toe's been itching again. Knowing him, we can find my fool of a brother somewhere nearby.
Very well. You and Septima will be traveling to Daggerfall to find our friends, and I'll see what I can do in the Imperial City. Be careful on your way. It's dangerous with all those Thalmor present in the Heartlands.
Make sure to take a barrel of brandy with you. If we don't get something strong into that captain of ours soon, he might just sober up again. And remember that our business here on Tamriel is the easy part.
Salo, you are weak. Hislosar, mortal. I have given you Ophan to prove yourself, and this is the best you can do. Your line of kings has failed. Your creators have grown old. You allowed the once great warriors to become old, weak, feeble, delirious. Your very existence is a sin upon this world. Your weakness is an insult to those you have failed. As your god, I am merciful. I allow you to fight and to better yourself. As your god, I command you to fight like the old kings once did. Show me the wrath that turned armies to storms of ash. The might that shattered the wise, and that made the powerful drop their weapons and submit. Show me what you can do, mortals!
Since our last appearance at the Creation ModCon 22, a lot has changed on Atmora. Over the last year, we've been focusing on re-evaluating old plans and assets, and a lot of work has been done behind the scenes to, well, organize the Atmora that we always dreamt of. This year, spring certainly has come to the continent, and over the course of the past 8 months, we have taken apart every single asset. Every barrel, every ship and every rock, and we looked at them. Do they still hold up? Are there any glaring issues with the model itself or the textures? Perhaps they are a bit outdated, or the new assets are already being planned. These are all questions that we had to ask ourselves. We had a very thorough look at what we have. We made notes of what we still need and what is necessary. Over the coming months, we hope to complete this venture and welcome a reinvigorated Atmora. While it is easy to make plans, it's quite difficult to make sure that those plans are still being followed after a certain amount of time. Plans like the usage of the fabled rune of Ylgafik, or darker and more secret aspects like the final plot threads of the main quest. To that end, we've been spending untold hours poring over spreadsheets and design documents. Beyond that, work has been going steady in the region of Roscrea, the place that some of you may remember as the dreaded Frostwood. Roscrea has become the new home to some stellar concept artists with a knack for threateningly large trees and crooked oaks, drawing and concepting new trees and burrows, altars and shrines, to breathe a truly eldritch life into the old domain of the terrible woodland man, who is rumored to still tear on the roots of Atmora. Atmora means Elderwood, and we hope that Roscrea will make any player feel like they are lost within the realm of a demon of knowledge. Perhaps, if you're lucky, there's going to be a hare somewhere who would gladly guide you deeper into the woods. Meanwhile, work has continued on the city, or should I say, the terror of Ylgafik. It's become apparent that a ruin that rivals the size of the Imperial City needs extra attention, extra careful planning, and many, many new assets. Therefore, we will be reconstructing the ruin from the ground up, using custom tile sets for the exterior, as well as the spectacular temples that will show you just how much larger than life this continent truly is. At the moment, one cannot help but just see a big Nordic ruin when viewing the southern jewel of Atmora, and the team wants to make sure that Ylgafik is a place that, well, I think it's best to keep that to myself for the time being. Thank you all so much for attending Creation ModCon, and we hope that you have as much fun watching it as we had making it.
Era creer fier faterin, era creer fier materin, era syn forn vindin, vindur en tansachad, viti kaldi fjaller et luf Rini Eikerin all Lita Lufer Fluga Hagi Meita Tanz Heliki Tanza Dei Tartilvan Lifi Dei Verda Ift Jat Krerer Fir Faderin Jat Krerer Fir Materin.
Captain Stu here with the indomitable Kairos once again, and Beyond Skyrim Atmora showing us truly a winter wonderland in the making. But we can't freeze here, as we don't want to be slowed down before we hit our next destination.
And that destination lies in the midst of the Sea of Pearls as we carry on to the Coral Kingdom, a cursed set of islands with a history of necromantic slug mischief. Join us on our travels to the land of Altmer Dread, the enigmatic shores of Thras.
UCM and Arcane Impact here once again, with a big thank you to the Thras team for that epic preview. We are certainly looking forward to seeing more of their work. But now, it's time to go coast to coast with the Beyond Skyrim team once more.
We make way for the star-wounded East and the alien land of Ash and Ashlanders, great houses and so-called living gods. Let's return to Morrowind.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the Beyond Skyrim Morrowind showcase for ModCon 2023. I am Meglos, I am the creative director of Beyond Skyrim Morrowind, and today we're going to be showcasing perhaps one of the most important aspects of any mod, which is how do you begin it? So we've started here in Windhelm, and as you can see there is a new ship in the harbor. This ship is a work-in-progress asset of our final version of the Morrowind ship, but it does look pretty close to what it will be in the final version of the mod. We are currently talking to the captain of this ship, who is a member of House Redoran, looking for people, workers, adventurers to join his crew and venture to the New North in the hopes of helping the colonization efforts in the region. This ship is, incidentally, the ship that you will also use in the eventuality that you have multiple Beyond Skyrim projects installed in order to fast travel between those. But for now, we can simply ask the captain a few questions, and then, after we agree to pay the fee, can head straight away off to the New North. Now that we've arrived in Balserma, we're going to take a minute to look around and talk to some of the various NPCs here. These NPCs have now all been fully implemented with dialogue trees, conversations, and generic dialogue. We are very pleased to announce that the vast majority of writing content for the New North is now complete. We're currently in the stages of implementing all of the remaining quests, as well as finishing up any level design pertaining to them. We are also in the process of casting and securing commitments from voice actors in order to bring these characters to life. You may have noticed a rumor from one of the guards, which has given us a miscellaneous quest objective, and in a few moments we'll be able to pick up another one after this conversation between NPCs. As we begin to make our way through the town interacting with the various NPCs, you may notice or may have already noticed a few very minor edits here and there. This is not an attempt to cover up any bugs or irregularities, merely an effort to streamline the showcase process, since All of this was an unscripted walk around of the town, and NPC schedules can be somewhat unpredictable. But so far, this is more or less an accurate depiction of what your first arrival in the town of Balserma will probably look like. Over here you can see the various docks, warehouses, shops, shipyards that Balserma has to offer. This town is a fairly new town, although it's built on the site of the old Nordic ruins from back in ESO's time. Though of course the town was destroyed back in the time of ESO, and then the whole region was affected by the Red Year. So House Redoran is here to rebuild the place and extract its resources in order to aid the development of the house back on the mainland. Now, this doesn't sit too well with all of the people who live and work here, given that many of them are actually prisoners or indentured servants in the service of House Redoran, due to crimes committed in their territory or various other offenses. Many of them get shipped out here in order to aid in the efforts of House Redoran, and many of them have some strong feelings about this situation. Though this is a new settlement, there is a great deal of history in the region, and this often leads to conflict between the old ways of doing things and the new. The New North is in many ways a frontier, and the struggles around the region are reflective of that. This is one of the themes we wanted to explore for the New North. Questions of identity, cultural heritage, and how to reflect and reconcile with the past. And though you will sometimes be able to intervene in these situations, there are some problems that run too deep and some conflicts that have gone on for too long to be solved by a single person. So in our brief trip through Balserma, we have already picked up leads for 3 miscellaneous tasks and have received hints towards yet another conflict. But we'll leave you to speculate on what those may be and how they might be resolved for now, and continue towards the final leg of our journey here today. We've already shown how you can get to the New North the easy way, but if perhaps you don't want to pay the fee, can't afford it, or are simply role-playing a character who would prefer to use more discreet methods of transportation, we have another way you can get in and out of Morrowind, via a cave system that connects the northwestern reaches of Skyrim with the New North. As we head towards this cave, we have encountered a few of the New North's local wildlife, and this is a perfect opportunity to showcase some of the spear animations that will be in Beyond Skyrim Morrowind, as well as many other Beyond Skyrim projects. These, along with many new spells and spell effect types, are some of the exciting features that Beyond Skyrim as a whole have been working on, and we're very pleased to be able to show them off to you now. We're now reaching the edge of Bleakrock Isle, and from here you can see the statue of Companion's Point, which is a location you may remember from ESO. And to aid us in crossing this channel, we'll drink the water walking potion that we got from Faris Barum earlier on in the video. We've now reached the entrance of Throkenir Tarn, and as you can see, it's guarded by a Reaver. Now, we do have the option here of bribing the Reaver to let us past, and we could then advance through the cave unharmed. But to keep things interesting, we'll deny him that and are going to attack him anyway. Reavers are the main bandit type here in the New North, and among those there are 3 distinct Reaver factions. The one occupying this cave is known as the Nailknot Clan, a band comprised entirely of Nords who believe that the New North is their territory by birthright. In particular, they're known for their shield biters, berserker-type enemies that go into a rage and can become very difficult to take down. Other Reaver clans include the Uakam Tong, an exclusively Dunmer band, as well as the Bloodhorkers, which you may remember from the Skyrim quest, Rise in the East. Though some Reavers in the New North will attack you on sight, other camps may be open to a little negotiation or even trade, provided you maintain a respectful relationship, of course. We're now approaching the end of the dungeon, since we wanted this transitional passage to be a little more short and sweet. On the Skyrim side of things, you'll notice that there is a similar Reaver encounter, where if you were to approach from the opposite direction, you would also have the option to bribe your way through. But since we attacked and killed all of his comrades inside, he's of course going to be hostile. So here we are, back in Skyrim, and with that, we've reached the end of the time we have for this showcase. Thank you very much for watching, and of course, be sure to stay tuned for more updates on the New North.
Wow, and what a great show by the Beyond Skyrim Morrowind team. Thank you very much to them for sharing their time with us, and where has all the time gone? We have come to the final showcase of Creation ModCon 2023.
This is easily one of the most anticipated projects of the weekend, given the announcement of a 2025 release date. It's time to close shut the marble jaws of Oblivion once more with the Skyblivion team. And stay tuned afterwards for the Day 2 Q&A to have a chance to have your questions answered by any of today's teams. Thanks once again for joining us, and now, over to Skyblivion.
Hello and welcome to our Creation ModCon gameplay showcase. My name is Heavy Burns, the resident video guy here at Skyblivion, and today I'm going to walk you through one of Oblivion's most iconic side quests, Mazoga the Orc. Our showcase begins in the lower class district of Leowin, and we'll need to make our way over to the palace to start the quest. Thankfully, each city guard in Skyblivion can give you directions to various points of interest around town.
What are you looking for?
Let's ask him about Leywin's landmarks.
The castles to the east, and the chapel near the west gate. Shops, guilds, and inns are south of the chapel, and some shops are by the north wall.
Just like Oblivion, guards can be rather useful.
Oh, bother someone else.
And just like Oblivion, they can also be rather rude. Castle Leowin is the seat of power governing this region of Blackwood, and thanks to Leowin's famous shipping ports, the city stands as one of the wealthier locations in Cyrodiil, and thus has created an allure for aspiring heroes to seek out knighthoods. When crafting each palace in Skyblivion, their walls, rugs, and decor are designed to adorn their banner colours, and conveniently, it looks like Mazoga is patiently hanging around Leowin's particularly green entrance hall. But first, we'll go ahead and speak to the city's illustrious count.
Marius Caro, by grace of the Nine, Count Leowin. You are a stranger to me, but well met. Perhaps you would like to do a service for County Leowin.
Here we can inquire into his offer of service.
I need your help. An orc named Mazoga here claims to be a knight, but will not reveal her business. Find out why she is here and report to me, and you will earn a reward suitable for those who serve Leowin. Prompt attention to this matter will be rewarded.
Now that we know a little about her presence here, we'll go find out what exactly this self-proclaimed knight wants from Count Marius Caro.
Are you the Count? The Count? Then I can talk to you. I'm Mazoga. Yes, I'm an orc. I was born under a rock and I have no parents, so I don't need a family name. I guess you don't know how to talk to a knight, so I'll teach you. Say, yes, Sir Mazoga. All right then, just don't forget. I'm a free knight. I don't have a lord. You got a problem with that? All right then. There's an Argonian named Weebamna in town. Go get him for me. Go tell him I want to see him. Here. Right now.
Let's go speak to this Weebamna.
Get a move on, will you?
Just like in Skyrim, NPCs in Skyblivion will have daily routines. In this instance, Weebemnar is spending his mornings soaking in the rather rare sunny weather here in Leowyn.
I'm Weebemnar. What do you want? So, an orc wants to see me, and this interests me how? Did I forget how much I like you, so I should do this favor for you? Maybe I just don't like you very much, so I'm not going.
All NPCs will have a disposition level towards the player. One way we can increase this is by sweetening the pot a little.
That will get you something. I see. So an orc named Mazoga wants to see me, and she expects me to come to her. I don't know her. I'd be smart to ignore her. But I never learned anything by being smart, and you seem to be a right skipper. So I guess I'll have to go see what this is about. Thank you.
Let's meet him back at the castle.
You are Weebemnar?
Yes.
I want to go to Fisherman's Rock. Where's that?
Fisherman's Rock is north of Leowyn, about 6 hours' walk, on a point of land on the eastern shore of the Niben.
Take me there, now. I'm in a hurry.
Why?
That's my business.
Then, if you won't tell me why, I won't take you anywhere.
Then to hell with you.
Seems like that didn't go as Mazoga might have planned. Let's speak to her and see what her interest is in Fisherman's Rock.
Weebemnar won't take me to Fisherman's Rock. You know where it is? Take me there, now.
Oviparous, oviviparous.
This guy,
What's the difference?
Mogan's Windshifter, he camps at Fisherman's Rock. So you take me there, and I talk to him, and then we see what happens. You hear me? I talk to him first. No smashing in his teeth or chopping off his head. Understand?
A new scent is here. Who can it be?
Could be. You know how it is. But not until I'm finished talking. The Argonian says it's north of Leowyn, about 6 hours' walk, on the east bank of the Niben. Let's get moving.
Well, I guess we're off to Fisherman's Rock.
What are we waiting for?
Oh, this is gonna be a joy. Cyrodiil's landmass is split up into 9 distinctly different regions. One of those 9 regions is Blackwood, a large swampland bordering the Blackmarsh border, the home of the Argonians. As you might have noticed, this region is famous for its humid, foggy weather and swampy wetlands. Our landscapers have spent hundreds of hours making this gloomy region a memorable and distinct biome that lives up to its described lore. We want players to truly feel the diversity of Cyrodiil's landmass, and quite clearly know when they have crossed a border into a new region. It looks like we're coming up to Fisherman's Rock just ahead. Let's let Mazoga take the lead on this one.
Remember me?
No. Who are you?
I'm Mazoga. You killed my friend Ravindra.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're a lying bastard. You killed Ravindra, and now I'm going to kill you.
Get this over with!
I kept my oath. Mogan's Windshifter is dead. Mogan's Windshifter had a gang. They robbed and killed travelers. But Ravindra saw and told the guards. Mogan's got away. But first he killed Ravindra. My best friend, Ravindra. That day, I became a knight and swore a knight's oath. I searched a long time and asked everyone. Then I finally heard he was hiding at Fisherman's Rock. So now you know everything. You helped me, and I won't forget. Take what you want from the dead. I came to keep my oath, and now I'm done. When I saw my friend killed, I swore I'd be a true knight and right all wrongs. So now I gotta do some good deeds. I don't know much about being a knight, but I'm gonna learn. Say, you did me a good deed. You ought to be a real knight yourself. Thanks for the help. You're okay.
Now that we've fulfilled Mazoga's wish, let's report back to the Count.
I hope you've been successful. Have you learned why the orc is here? Such vengeance is a noble deed. Leowyn thanks you for your service, and I have a fitting reward for such noble deeds. I address my offer to you and your friend. Would you like to become knights errant? I have created a chivalric order of the White Stallion. Find and kill the leader of the Black Bow Bandits, the orc named Black Brugo. If you succeed, I will bestow on both you and Mazoga the titles of Knights Errant of the White Stallion for your service to Leowyn. The outlaw, Black Brugo, is a menace to County Leowyn. They call his marauders Black Bow Bandits because they use black bows. Find Black Brugo and execute him for his crimes, and I will make both you and your friend Mazoga Knights Errant of the White Stallion. In her shadowy past, your friend Mazoga might have had contacts with outlaws. Ask her. Remember, a knight's title shall be your reward.
In order to become knight errants to Leowyn, we're going to have to complete one last task for the Count.
I know Brugo. Long ago, back before I became Sir Mazoga. I split a share or two with Brugo. Brugo's a jerk. He's got a hideout in a ruin called Telepi. Every night between midnight and 6 a.m., he stops there to pick up his take. We're pals, right? So we'll kill Black Brugo and be knights. I'll wait right here until you ask me to follow you.
Black Brugo is an infamous orc bandit leader reigning in the Blackwood region, and it looks like the sun will be setting soon, so let's find our way over to his camp in order to catch him when night falls. This seems like the place, the Iliad ruin known as Telepe, but it's looking like we might need to kill some time before Brugo will reveal himself. As it seems he's away from his camp for a few hours, we have ample time to head inside the ruin and see what kind of treasures we can find. Then hopefully by the time we're done, the sun would have set. Dungeon design is extremely important to us, and we want to ensure that no dwelling feels boring or unenjoyable. In this instance, it seems like the gate ahead is closed, so we'll have to find a way to get through. Telepe is an Iliad ruin, but it's being used as a bandit outpost, so the team wants to reflect that through the clutter we place and the types of loot you'll find. Hello, Mazoga? Ah, this button should work wonders on that gate back there. Looks like we have company.
Jump on my sword while you can! I give up!
Perfect, this room is now open. It seems like the bandits never found their way in here, so there must be ancient Iliad loot lying around. Oh dear.
This is the part where you fall down and bleed to death.
That was a first look at Skyblivion's brand new Iliad White, ancient elves that act as guardians to the more unexplored depths of Iliad ruins. Additionally, we have also created more elven treasure and loot to scavenge around these ruins. But now we found a bit of ancient treasure, we should check the remaining room in the ruin to see if the bandits have left us anything of use behind. This seems to be mostly where the bandits resided. Cozy. It is extremely important to us that when the player explores many of Skyblivion's dungeons, they truly believe that the creatures, bandits, or spectres that call that place home actually use it as such, and thus we put hours and hours of work into handcrafting each dungeon to be an immersive and believable experience. And just like Mazoga said, it seems this was the payment Black Brugo is coming to collect tonight. I'm going to throw an assumption out there and assume he probably won't need this when he's dead. After a successful tomb raid, I think it's about time we fulfilled that oath and headed outside to see if night has fallen, and if Brugo has come to collect his debt. Well, it's definitely night, and it seems like voices are coming from behind the ruin.
Do your work, Serial. Die!
I'm going to bleed slow.
Oh, yeah.
You're pathetic! This is a...
Many unique weapons in Skyblivion have special effects that will aid you in combat. The weapon you've been seeing throughout this showcase is the Trudgeon of Submission, which knocks enemies down when their stamina is depleted. Now that Black Brugo is dead, let's head back and finish looting his corpse. Black Brugo is one of the many unique enemies you can encounter in Skyblivion. From bandit bosses to goblin warlords, mysterious spirits, or possibly even some special mud crabs, this showcase has barely scratched the surface of the content included in the game. But for now, we have a quest to turn in and collect our rank of Knight Errant.
I hope you are here to tell me of Black Brugo's death. What news do you have of Black Brugo? Justice has been done, and henceforth, Mazoga and you shall be known as Knights of the White Stallion. May I present you with the perquisites of your rank, a key to White Stallion Lodge, and a shield bearing the arms of County Leowin. Mazoga's key and shield shall be delivered to her directly, and I promise you a bounty of 100 gold for each black bow you bring me. I see you have a black bow. Would you like to turn it in for the bounty? Here is your reward. Well done, and thank you. Each black bow you bring me means another black bow bandit slain.
Did you tell the Count about Black Brugo? So, am I a knight? God's ghoulies. Not just a knight, but a knight errant. That's a real special kind of knight, right? So go on, say it. Say, I greet you, Sir Mazoga. Thank you kindly, Sir Knight. Sounds good. Damn good. I'm a knight errant now, and I don't care who knows it. So thank you. You've been good to me, and I won't ever forget it. So I better get started doing my good deeds, and maybe I'll see you at the White Stallion Lodge. Goodbye.
Good day, Sir Knight.
And that is just one out of over 50 side quests you can discover in your time exploring Cyrodiil. We hope you enjoyed this gameplay showcase. The team has came a long way since the project began, and though we have a release year of 2025, that does not mean the work is finished, or that we aren't accepting new recruits. If you have the skills required to help us finish this incredible feat, please consider applying at www.skyblivion.com/volunteer. Skyblivion has been a labour of love from all involved, and we cannot wait to show the world everything we've been working on. and recently we have released a roadmap detailing exactly what we have finished and what we have left. Despite the massive scope of this project, we are finally seeing the end of the road, but there is still much work to be done. We hope that this showcase has given you a better insight into the project and maybe how you might contribute yourselves. Only with the Elder Scrolls modding community's talent and the support of this fantastic community could we have ever gotten as far as we have. We hope you continue to support us as you have for years, and we are excited to show you much more. This has been Heavy Burns. Have a wonderful ModCon, everybody, and we cannot wait to show you so much more of Skyblivion.
The Arcane University can give you the skills to contribute to exciting mod projects, with classes in game writing, level design, voice acting, 3D art, concept art, implementation, animation, and sound design. You can also take part in student projects like Hestra's Nest and the recently released Hearthstone Isles. Join us at discord.gg/Arcane University and learn the magic of modding.
The Goblins and the Tower. Written by Devon Young. Read by Renara Hawke. Upon the lake stood a farmhouse that was very, very tall. The family filled its floors. Food, shelter for all. They sang to the sky, and their song spread wide, and provided to others a harmonious guide. Far, far away, past sea and past sand, lay the stalagmite kingdom of the Goblin land. They sang along too, but as years went on, they began to forget, the silence forgone. They came to the farm, and they tore up the crop, surrounding and jeering the family atop, demanding the singing, for all must now end, and the family must leave, letting goblins ascend. Wishing no harm to come, the family went, knowing this action would violence prevent. And though words were marked in tears of gold white, they promised their struggle would not end that night. The goblin cheers howled, warped on the breeze, and the family trudged down beneath through the trees. But deep within the forest, new voices sang through, their song sung back to them, resilient and true. Together they gathered, the family and friends, plotting out plans for the cruel goblin's end. Ears tipped with leaves, forms clad in moon gold, disguises in place, they snuck back to the fold. The next day began. The family walked in, greeting the goblins while dressed as their kin, tending their needs, avoiding their glares, closer and closer, and reaching the stairs. They tricked the goblins floor by floor, guiding them out, then locking the door, until all that remained were atop on high, filling the land with their vile goblin cry. Joining their hands, the family breathed in, and in unison they began to sing of hope and of power and full of unity. A land returned and goblin free. The goblins screamed, flailed in dismay, and scattered, clambering down and away, swimming through sea and wading through sand, all the way back to their stalagmite land. The family rejoiced, spreading their song, telling that the goblin and woe were now gone. Their friends came and gathered to party therefore, and so time went on forever and more.
Hello everybody, and it's hard to believe, but we've already arrived at the second day Q&A. What a wonderful day, what a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. And we won't tarry. We're going to carry on straight into the Q&A, but we're going to introduce everybody that's with us today. So, Aaron, who in the blue hell are you?
So I'm Aaron. I am the writing and lore lead for Roscrea. I also do a lot of implementation there, and I have some degree of participation over in Argonia as well.
Fantastic.
Not to be confused with the other Aaron, who also works in Argonia.
Very true. Katir, who the blazes are you?
Hello there. I'm Katir. I'm the project lead for Skyrim Extended Cut.
And D, who the dickens are you?
Hi, I'm D Keys, and I'm the lead level designer of Skyblivion.
Thank you. And Garfield, who in God's green earth are you?
Hi, I'm Garfield. I'm the lead developer for Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay.
Lovely. And Hendris, who in tarnation are you?
Hi, I'm Hendris. I am the writing lead and the project lead for Beyond Skyrim Atmora, a senior writer over on Roscrea, and also one of the teachers over in the Arcane University, where people can learn how to mod and how to join the projects.
Certainly is. And Kettlewitch, Yifra's bones, who are you?
How you doing, Stu? Kettlewitch, I'm one of the leads over at Thras, and like Hendris, you can find me over at the Arcane University and probably in one or two other projects around the community as well.
Lovely. And Meglos, who the smeg are you?
Hi, I'm Meglos. I'm the creative director of Beyond Skyrim Morrowind.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us today for the Q&A. I'm just going to get cracking. So I think we'll start with Roscrea, if that's all right. So our first question today is from Magica Addict, and the question is, do we have joinable religious factions in Roscrea?
Yeah, so Roscrea, most of its narrative is built around the various totemic cults, of which in vanilla Skyrim you can see the ruins of and the various Draugr tombs. And as the society is built around them, the religious orders and the factions, politically, socially, are all very closely intertwined. So there are multiple cult quest lines. You can work for at least 3 of the major cults, the bear cult, snake cult, and the hawk cult, but there's others that are around in various ways, shapes, or forms that you can interact with as well.
Amazing. Next question for you would be, with the Nords here being primarily of Atmoran descent, do they see elves and beastfolk as weird, or have they had more exposure?
So, as you venture deeper into the island, you'll find less and less exposure towards the Tamrielic races, and the beast folk especially draw the concern of a lot of the residents in Roscrea. So you'll have, especially we have several scenes and things written where kids will approach you, having never seen a beast person before, and like ask you about, what's with the tail, or things like that. Elves are a little bit more understood because old Atmoran tales do occasionally involve various elvish groups, but even still, there's a level of unfamiliarity that they'll see you as more than just the foreigners in Crane Shore.
Cool. I think I neglected to say who that question was from as well. That question was from Gear Compass. Our final question for Roscrea today is from James Malice. And the question is, with similar themes and proximity of the two regions, will they have a large amount of interconnectedness, like plot hooks and references to each other? I think that's talking about Roscrea and Atmora, sorry.
All right, so I can start answering that question, and maybe Hendris would like to elaborate a little more later on. But with Roscrea and Atmora, we definitely over the past maybe year and a half, 2 years, have started working incredibly closely together as we plan to, integrate a lot of the content. We share all sorts of assets that we haven't shared prior. There are certain enemy types, certain loot items that you can find between the two. In northern Roscrea, there are certain places where you can encounter Atmoran shipwrecks with Atmoran ghosts aboard. And our writing has also been retconned and changed in certain ways to make sure that everything fits nicely. We've kind of joked that Atmora and Roscrea are 2 parts of the same series, and with Skyrim being the original, Roscrea being a sequel or spin-off, and then Atmora being the sequel to that. And you'll see that not only through the narrative, which does connect really nicely, but moreover through certain facets of gameplay as you continue further north to the islands and then up to the continent of Atmora. You'll find that things become more difficult, and certain mechanics that we introduce in Roscrea are expanded upon there. If you're playing with survival mode, you'll also feel the cold increase, and it will become quite difficult to survive as you travel further north.
Cool. Hendris, do you want to add anything to that now?
I couldn't have said it any better. Yeah, so as Atmora and Roscrea are fairly close to each other, not only in in geography, but also in culture, with a lot of the Roscreans coming from Atmora, similar to how the Nords came from with Iskamor. Some myths and sagas will be connected in most cases. So things that are mentioned on Atmora, or factions that kind of have a certain disagreement, that might be explored later on in Roscrea, and say certain myths, legends, or even kings that you can hear about and read about on Roscrea might be able to be found or met on Atmora.
Awesome. There's also, I feel like it'd be a little bit remiss not to mention that there is also kind of an exchange of talent in the ways that the game, that both are being made, and that there's been a couple of weeks where certain members from Roscrea have gone over and done some work in Atmora and vice versa. So there's lots of the interconnectivity is deeply woven between the two. Now with Esroniet, they haven't got anybody with us today for the Q&A, but if you have any questions for them, you can jump onto the Discord boards and ask questions there. But I've got a few questions that have been asked today that we've got some prepared answers for. So the first question comes from Nutbrain, a great name. How will the Sei-Chi be depicted? The answer to that would be the Sei-Chi won't be directly depicted. They are long gone from the island, but there will be plenty of pieces that they've left behind, whether it be old ruins or some things more morbid. We also have a question for our very own Renara Hawk. Will there be a new religion/spiritual practices in Archipelago? There will be completely new and unique pantheon of gods and religious practices, whether it comes to rituals to obtain the favor of the gods or brutal practices to let the dead rest. And for the Esri and their faith, memory is their most valuable gift, and they are sure to try and preserve it. And the last question regarding Esroniet, again from Gear Compass. Is your interpretation of the Sei-Chi like older Elder Scrolls games, being more serpentine, more like Elder Kings 2, D&D, where they have serpentine features, or like ESO/Oblivion? An answer to that, a brief answer to that is, as we won't have a Sei-Chi presence who will physically appear, we won't have any interpretation for their physical appearance, past vague art that they left in the walls of their temples, but the Asian influence of their culture and architecture will stay. So we can move on next to Iliac Bay. So Garfield, again, Gear Compass with the question here. Have there been any underwater level designing stuff happening? I just got a Goofy Lady of the Lake concept with Mad Lamia.
So we haven't actually begun our underwater level design. We're saving that for last just because it's a bit of a less interesting job and a bit less high priority. We do have a few interesting locations that make use of underwater environments, like there's a Dwemer ruin on Herne that mostly takes place through these sort of water tunnels, and there's an interesting location called Siren Rock with an underwater entrance in the middle of the ocean where you'll meet a sailor who's stranded there by a group of Nereids.
Cool. I'm about to butcher the name of the next question here. It's Dzguda24. The question, will people get upset if harming an Honor Dead in Hammerfell?
So in terms of regular gameplay, not really. We're not going to stop you from diving into dungeons and all the good stuff that you expect. We do have quests that make use of that as a plot point, though. It's been used already in a couple of quests just in the Outer Abyssian.
Cool. Last question for you today is from Leo Trick, and Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay, why doesn't the shovel make a bonk sound when you hit enemies with it?
Well, it doesn't make a bonk sound yet. It will, hopefully.
We're really coming at you with the hard-hitting questions, or the bonk-sounding hard-hitting questions today, I should say. Thanks for that, Garfield. Next, we got extended cut. So, Katir, your first question is from Rat Milk. Will extended cut stay consistent enough with the lore and original story that will make sense going into the next game?
All right. Well, thank you, Rat Milk. That's a good question. Well, I'd say all of our writing and design is done with a lot of respect for the world and history that Bethesda built for Skyrim and for the Elder Scrolls. It's impossible to predict what's going to happen in future titles, so I can't say for sure whether anything in EC will be contradicted by the events of the next game. But what I can say for sure is that the way our story is constructed is, it's an expansion and improvement of what's already there. So all of the major events of EC are the same ones that happen in canon, even if it's occasionally in a different order or in a different context. So the story you experience in Extended Cut is a story you can reasonably carry forward into your future adventures, wherever upcoming games might take you. And we really try to respect the setting and the lore in a way that makes our overhaul feel like a natural part of the Elder Scrolls. So I hope that, when someone plays through our mod, I think it'll be a playthrough that you can feel comfortable making into the story that you want to tell and the story you can take into future titles.
Cool. The next question is from the rest of us. Does Extended Cut only affect the main quest line and not the guild/DLCs?
All right, everybody who's not Rat Milk must have asked that one. We get this question a lot. The answer is that we overhaul the main quest and the Dragonborn DLC, but we don't overhaul the Civil War, the Dawnguard DLC, or guilds like the College of Winterhold or the Dark Brotherhood. NEC, the main story of the Dragonborn DLC, is integrated into the greater main quest line, and it's tied in a lot more to the overarching story, which lets us include a lot of cool stuff, like, for example, with Mirac, setting him up as more of a rival figure to the Dragonborn with more stuff to do. We thought that worked really well as an inclusion in the main story, but other than that, it's mostly just the main quest that's being overhauled, as we want to keep it feasible and keep it, within that area for what we're doing. That said, overhauls for the Civil War, Dawnguard, and other guilds might be done in the future as separate releases. We don't know if we'll do those or not, but it's certainly nothing is off the table for after the mod comes out. But they won't be part of our base release, which just covers, like I said, the main quest and Dragonborn.
Cool. Again, another question from the rest of us, i.e. everyone that's not Rat Milk. Will there be patches for Extended Cut for alternate start mods?
Yeah, we also get this question every so often. We know a lot of people use alternate start mods in their games. Some of our developers use alternate start mods. Sometimes you get tired of Rayloff waking you up. I know how it is. The short answer is that we aren't going to make those patches ourselves, but the authors of alternate start mods are absolutely welcome and encouraged to make those patches for EC at their own discretion if they want to do so. And I think that hopefully a lot of the alternate start mods that are popular right now should have a pretty easy time doing that, as we don't modify the introduction section too much, and I think it'll be pretty intuitive to make those patches. So even though we aren't going to be hosting them ourselves, I do think that people who really want to use reasonable alternate start mods with EC will be able to do so, as long as those mods authors are amenable to that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. So many great projects today. I'm looking forward to all of them.
Thank you very much, Kajir. Thank you for joining us today. So our next questions are for Atmora. So Hendris. Question is from Neo Quattro. I hope that I got that name right. Atmora is compatible with Frostfall still in mind. I think what they're trying to say is Atmora still compatible with Frostfall?
The Frostfall mod. Yes, it is. I mean, at least we're hoping it will be. We're still in development, so we can't really say for certain, but we are developing storylines, quests, and everything with survival mechanics in mind. Keep in mind that we will hopefully also be able to give players the ability to customize their experience. So if you are a hardcore survival enthusiast who would love to start on Atmora, I'm probably sure that we can get something for you, and also for like the enthusiasts who would rather be like exploring without a care in the world. I'm sure that we can get like something set up for them as well. But again, it's all work in progress. So there's plans, but we can't say for certain whether or not it's possible.
Awesome. And your next question, how will the trailer story tie into the main plot of Atmora?
Hopefully it will, it should tie in quite heavily. So the things you've seen in the story trailer is something that probably would have happened a couple months, if not weeks, prior to the last Dragonborn being unleashed onto Skyrim. As part of Atmora's main quest, the player will be expected and will be required to have already unlocked shouting and already learned the Whirlwind Sprint and the Unrelenting Force shouts. So we do hope that the story will be presented on Atmora as well. It's just that the trailer that we gave today is some additional content, basically, to tease the crew and the main antagonist on Atmora.
Awesome. And the last question I've got for you today, I think we kind of had a hint of this, but what kinds of Style Room equipment is Atmora adding?
So the Sacred Style Room was pretty much abundant on Atmora. So they knew how to artificially grow it, and also how to best put it into action and to use it in the rituals. The creatures you've seen, or the men fighting, were of the Warband of the North called Clan Fonkin. And these warriors pride themselves on their strength And as half giants, they could just bend and mold Atmora. They can bend and mold Skyrim without the need for magic. So they're warriors, they're berserkers, they're raiders, but also they're shamans. They wore sturdy Skyrim armor and swung a lot of Skyrim weapons. And the bear cult also made use of Skyrim on Atmora because it was just that much more usable over in the north.
Amazing, and thank you for showing us everything today, Hendris. Always a pleasure. So next up is Thras, Kettlewitch. Let's have a look. How is progress going on getting sloads in game? I imagine that's quite difficult because they are quite slimy and it's hard to slip them in.
Yeah, it's more to do with the engine we use than the what's falling off of them. But no, it's good. We've had slowed in game in the past, but we've never really been happy with them, to be honest. Custom animations and behaviors have come a long way in the community since we started, and with we got pretty lucky actually. We got some really good animators on the team recently, and it means we're not far off having the quality of slowed we always wanted. I'd say the model, even like the assets we use, has changed. It's gotten better and better. But our latest slowed incarnation only kind of barely missed out on being in today's showcase. But like anyone involved with custom implementation, like most of the guys here will know, that like these things aren't straightforward and rarely, if ever, work first time. But it won't be long before we're showing them off.
Amazing. The next question is: this trailer presents a very different tone from previous Thras previews. Has writing or other parts of the mod changed in turn?
Yeah, I think like most of these projects, Thras has evolved over time. The capabilities of the team and what we could actually do with the engine when we started compared to where we are now are like miles apart. So that's definitely made an effect on overall development. If anything, I'd say we're more streamlined at this stage. A lot of feature creep has been removed, and we're pretty focused as a team on delivering something that we hope will do.
And the last question
I've got potential of what we voiced Thras could perhaps. So I'd say the tone has changed to become more focused. It was quite scattergun in the past, like a lot of ideas floating around and stuff. But I think the application of the ideas that we're trying to implement, that we are implementing, and like the application of those has definitely become more focused, I'd say.
Perfect. Very sorry for cutting you in there, though.
Not at all.
So the last question I've got for you is: will the main plot of Thras be fighting against the Aldmeri Dominion? Are you comfortable to reveal that or not?
Yes, it's definitely one of the overreaching acts for sure, but we're a little bit different that we don't actually have a traditional main quest like a lot of projects would. We've always planned to have more like 3 or 4 intertwined big quests, we'll call them, each exploring various aspects of Thras. But you would call one of the main endings that we have, not just planned out, but anyway, I won't say too much, but it's a naval attack on an Alanor fringe territory. The outcome is obviously going to be dependent on player choices, but it'll be the sort of end game of the slowed versus Alanor themes in the mod. The main quest is, it's probably more trying to stay alive and not go totally insane, if I'm honest.
Amazing. Again, thank you for joining us today, and again, really enjoyed your trailer today.
Thanks, Stu. Pleasure to be here.
No problem. So next up, let's go to you, Meglos. I got a couple of questions for you. So for Morrowind, this question comes from Belzebu. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Will there be alternative ways to reach the New North, like a ferry from Solstheim?
The ferry from Solstheim is a concept that we have tossed around in the past, and we may put it in eventually as a patch, but in the base version of the New North, you will just have the ship from Windhelm as well as the cave from Northern Skyrim, and that's it for the pre-release.
Awesome. Next question is once again from Gear Compass. Thank you so much for all your questions today, Gear. Is Vivec City re-inhabited Megaton style with the prison crashed down?
No, absolutely not. The place where Vivec used to be is now a steaming crater that is basically impossible to traverse without extremely heavy-duty gear, because it's a constantly sort of churning and boiling bay called Scathing Bay, and basically everything immediately around that region is very uninhabitable. So if you wanted to go exploring in it, you'd need some very good protective equipment first and that sort of thing.
We actually have a place very similar to that in the UK. It's called Blackpool. My final question for you today is, does Morrowind have plans to implement unique spears from the Elder Scrolls Free?
We will have to see for the purposes of the New North, how much time we have and how many assets we can get for that. I imagined for the full release for mainland stuff, we will absolutely be able to. But for the New North, just remains to be seen.
Amazing. And again, amazing trailer, Meglos. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Lovely. And now next up is Skyblivion, our last trailer that we saw today. So D, another question from Disguda24. What is the requirements for Skyblivion?
I think the requirements are probably very similar to Skyrim Special Edition Zone. I think at most just like a teeny bit more. So, but we've made sure to kind of keep it within Skyrim Special Edition's range. So we don't want to cut out too many people. We kind of put a lot of effort into looking into what the majority of people's specifications are. So yeah, we make sure we optimize our levels and everything. Don't go too crazy with the assets.
Yeah. Brilliant. Next question is from Wojarin. Will Sturk be included in Skyblivion?
Sadly not, no. I know there's probably a lot of people on the team that would love to add a bit more, but we're very hyper focused on keeping feature creeps out of the project just so we can get everything done and hopefully out to people as quick as possible.
Fantastic. I think we all want that, really. And apropos, our last question is from Gear Compass once again. So again, thank you, Gear, for all the questions. Skyblivion backend, do the NPCs have full schedules, i.e. Oblivion, or spawn and event triggers, i.e. Skyrim?
I think they're gonna have, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they're gonna have the same schedules they did in Oblivion. There might be some changes simply because whenever you look at some of the NPC schedules, they're ridiculous. They're like, Arthur has breakfast for 5 hours and then goes to the pub for 12 and then goes to sleep and then it just repeats. There's stuff like that we might look at again, just as long as it doesn't interfere with quests and stuff like that.
Amazing. I really actually love the scheduling of NPCs in Oblivion. It's one of my favorite things about that game.
Yeah, some of them are crazy. Guys that just spend the majority of their day at the pub. It's so genuine and realistic.
Yeah, and some of them are just borderline psychopathic.
And stares into the corner of his house.
Amazing. Well, that is all the questions that we have from you today. If anyone has any more questions for any of the teams you saw today or yesterday, please check out their Discords. All the links are printed off on each of the vids at the bottom, so please go check them out, and I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige you. But we have come to the end of our Q&A, and thus the end of this year's Creation ModCon. Thanks to everybody that's joined us this year. It has been the biggest and best ModCon we've done to date. We're all very proud, and thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, as much of it as depending on where you are, you have, and have a great day. Bye.
The Arcane University can give you the skills to contribute to exciting mod projects, with classes in game writing, level design, voice acting, 3D art, concept art, implementation, animation, and sound design. You can also take part in student projects like Hestra's Nest and the recently released Hearthstone Isles. Join us at discord.gg/arcaneuniversity and learn the magic of modding.